A home is so much more than boards and nails, and at the heart of it is the kitchen. It's where Mom taught you how to make some of Grandma's greatest recipes, and it's where the best stories start and finish. Today I want to invite you in to enjoy some amazing food and to learn what makes this house a home. Today we took a long drive down the winding country roads in southeast Louisiana. We're in this beautiful town of St. Francisville, which is just about an hour south of Baton Rouge and close to Natchez, Mississippi. And I am in this beautiful custom home from Aline. Aline, you just built this. You just moved in about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And it's situated on about 16 acres. It's a beautiful home. And so we want to go ahead and talk to Aline. She's been gracious enough to share this kitchen with us today. And she's going to tell us a little bit about what she thought about building this home, the things that were important to her. And we're going to be cooking a really nice pot pie as well. So thank you so much, Aline, for allowing us to cook in your kitchen today.
Absolutely. It's my honor.
Yeah, so tell us about this house. I mean, it's gorgeous. There's so many details and everything to it.
Well, we designed it ourselves, and I like the kitchen. That's my happy place. So that was really important to me. So I pretty much got a lot of cabinet space. This is where I like to be. I got lots of room. It's real rustic. I don't have a really huge, beautiful table, but I got a farmhouse table, and I like that. I like the country feel in the country.
That's what I think. It's got that feel of just family. Mm-hmm. When I walked into it the first time, it really felt like you had family in mind when you built it.
Right.
Like this home was built to entertain your family, to have family gatherings. So I absolutely love that.
Kid friendly.
Yeah, so you have grandkids, so that's really important too.
Right.
To have something that is, especially as they grow, you can come into this kitchen and bake with them and cook with them and just build some beautiful memories together.
Right, exactly.
So we're going to start building some beautiful memories, just the two of us. So we're going to make a pot pie, and I chose this because it is right before Christmas. Thanksgiving was just a couple of weeks ago, and pot pie in my family, I don't know if y'all eat pot pie a lot.
We do.
You do? Mm-hmm. Good. So Thanksgiving, you have leftovers, and with my kids, they know that there's going to be turkey left over. So then they know the day afterwards we're going to have a pot pie so that we can use all of the leftovers. Today we didn't have the turkey, so we're using chicken, and we're going to make a pot pie.
That works.
So I'm going to get you to kind of start helping me put this together, and then we'll talk a little bit more about your home and your family.
Sounds good.
So we're going to get started. I'm going to have you cut the onion up, and I'm going to start tearing apart the chicken so that we can just start compiling the pot pie. So tell me a little bit, what do you like to cook, or what are some traditions you and your family have?
Well, actually, I've been cooking since I was 7 years old.
Really?
My grandmother had me on a step stool at the stove, helping her cook. And one thing I remember that she taught me how to cook is old-fashioned chicken and dumplings.
Oh, I love that. My grandmother did a good one too. My mom too. I love the chicken and dumpling.
And she would always let me get up there and drop the dumplings in. And so I really do love to cook. I've cooked really all my life, but then I like to try new recipes. I like to share recipes.
So did you do a lot of that with your children? A lot of cooking?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I find that it's funny because when I've shown houses through the years, and those that really kind of wanted a big kitchen, it was because they loved cooking with their kids.
Right.
And they loved the whole kind of everything that was built around that in the kitchen.
And I like how you can get together and for Thanksgiving and really just overdo it.
Yes.
And Christmas. Like, why do you need 3 pies? It's just because that's just the time of the year you do that. 3 pies, 2 cakes.
We had 4 pies and 7 of us.
But we get together. I get together with the girls, and they tell me, what are we making this year? Let's get the list. And I want to make peanut butter balls, and we really overdo it.
Yeah, and now you have the kitchen that kind of allows for that. You have all this space, and everybody can kind of gather around this island. And I was looking around, and I noticed like some of the things that you have here. Like you have a spice rack that's built in right next to your stove.
Right.
And then you have your big spoons. So when you're making the pudding or whatever at the stove, you have the big spoons that you can just pull out. So it's like everything's accessible, which is great.
And there's plenty of room that 3 people can be doing 3 different things.
Right, I love that. And we do everything big in Louisiana, so
lots
of food, lots of people.
You can't make a small gumbo. It just don't
No,
work.
you can't. And that's one thing too, as we're doing this pot pie, like with some of the leftovers we get, we will do like gumbos too.
Right.
So that's the tradition. After Thanksgiving or after Christmas, you get a good pot pie, and next day if you have leftovers, then you have a big old gumbo to cook as well.
And hope for cool weather.
And you hope for cool weather. We can still eat gumbo though. Even when it's hot outside, we can eat gumbo. We just turn the AC
Just
down.
turn the air down really low. Nobody will ever know.
I know. That's one thing I love. The traditions. When I was growing up, I grew up in Louisiana too, and so my mom cooked a lot, and she had a really small kitchen, but I loved watching her cook there. And I kept thinking someday when I have kids, and I have a lot of them now, that we're going to be doing that. We're going to spend a lot of time in the kitchen and cooking together.
It's good to do things together with your kids.
Yes, it is. And I just love the space that you've kind of created here. It's really, you can tell when you walked into it, whether you knew you had kids or not, you walked into it and you can tell she has a family, because every little detail throughout the house was built with that in mind. And you can kind of see that. And I think too, one of the things that I've noticed throughout is you have just beautiful details throughout the house. You have the brick walls, you have the cypress wood beams, and then even in your foyer, you have that detail ceiling. So were those things important to you too when you were thinking about building a house?
And when we built this house, that brick wall was one thing I really wanted.
Yeah.
A lot of people would go, wow, do you want a brick wall inside? I want a brick wall inside. Yeah. And I really did. I'm glad I did that. And the cypress is just, it's so rustic.
I know, I love that. It feels very homey and warm.
Country.
And country. And you're in the country.
We're
I mean,
in the
you have
country.
16 acres out here, which is absolutely gorgeous. Yes, so I thought that was really nice. And another thing I saw was that you have another kitchen.
Right, it's called a man cave. Yes.
In a man cave, is that what that's what he calls it?
Cave.
Well, not every man likes to cook, but I'm glad that yours does. Mine doesn't. I do all the cooking myself, so that's really cool. And
yeah,
it
really came in handy too at Thanksgiving, because I had the oven with 3 things in it, and then I needed to cook the brisket, so I go in his kitchen. So it really worked out good.
I know, and you can leave all the mess in this kitchen if you wanted to.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, you need to clean up in there.
I know, I think that's really cool. And then also when you're entertaining, so when the warm months, come back, you have that big deck outside, and which is beautiful as well. And then you can kind of cook, and everybody, I noticed the door, you can close the door, so everything's just in that kitchen. Right. And then you can entertain with your family.
Well, kind of one thing that I imagined was, and that's why we have the TV in there, is the son-in-law is watching the ball game, and we're in there making a gumbo or something. That's kind of how I imagined that.
Right, and you can, like I said, you can feel that. You could tell that you thought about every aspect of how's, not just the details, but how is your family going to live here? Right. What are the things that are most important to them? Right. I think that's how you build a home.
It's kind of a home built for all of us. Right. Not just Ken and I.
So we're going to move to the stove. We're going to go ahead and start making the base, the cream base. Okay. And it's kind of, they call it a roux, but I know if you're a diehard Cajun, a roux is like your oil and your flour. That's the way that Mama, I know you said that's the way that you make it too. But we're going to make it with butter and start putting our roux together, and then we'll start building it and get it on over in the oven.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Sounds good.
So we have our roux all set. We have our onions in the roux. We have our potatoes to boil. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the pie crust in the pie pan, and we're going to put it in the oven at about 350 for about 10 minutes to kind of firm up and set. That way it's not soggy at all when we add all the ingredients to it. And then I can go ahead and start taking some of our ingredients and putting it into the roux. We have a cup of carrots, a cup of peas. We have about a cup of chicken here, and it would be any other ingredient you want to throw in there if you have something like beef left over, or your turkey or anything like that. So we're going to set that, and then we're going to finish the rest of our base, and this should be pretty quick to put all together. We're going to start, we've got the pie crust that's kind of firmed up a bit, and we're going to go ahead and start ladling it in here. And it's kind of nice and thick. And one thing about pot pies too, you can continue to add more liquid to it if you want it a little bit more creamier than thick. So it's kind of up to you. And growing up in Louisiana, you know, like our grandmas do it, I do it too. We don't always measure things. So
Exactly.
even
a
though
pinch or
a pinch, my grandmother did everything with spoons, a big spoonful of this.
or a
And
handful.
A handful, exactly. Or just kind of throw it in, pour until it's full. So we'll have this, I'll get this all together, and then you can be the one that's gonna put that pie crust on. I'll leave that up to you.
Okie
You may
dokie.
have a better chance of making it look all beautiful. Okay, so that should do it. We're all full, so if you want to
Okay.
go ahead and do that. See, you're already so much better at it than me. So you do a lot of pie crusts just from scratch, right?
I do. I like to make them from scratch.
Yeah, that's nice. It's a little time consuming.
But
This is
sometimes
easy.
you don't have time.
Right, this is really easy. So I love that. So while we're doing this, tell us a little bit. I know the kitchen was one of the most important things when you were thinking about building your home. You wanted this big, beautiful kitchen for everybody to gather. But walking through your home, there's so many beautiful aspects of it. So tell me what was something else that was important that you wanted to incorporate.
I wanted a big bathroom. I wanted this particular shower that is wheelchair accessible, all tile. You don't have to have a shower curtain or a door.
Right.
And then I didn't do a jacuzzi or anything. It's just a regular tub
Big
with a
soaking.
deck around it that you can put plants and stuff.
And that shower, that tile work on there is just beautiful.
Oh, he did phenomenal.
Yeah, they did a beautiful job. So they definitely took your kind of what your vision was.
They
And
did.
they brought it to reality, which is
They
nice.
did.
See, look at this. This design work is so nice on that. Perfect. Nice. So let's go ahead and we'll get that in the oven. The pie is out of the oven, and I want to thank Aline for being gracious enough to share her home and, of course, her kitchen with us. Thank you so much, Aline, for doing this. You have a beautiful home, a beautiful property, and I think that your family is going to be happy here for years to come.
Thank you.
All right, let's eat.
I enjoy.
Yay!